hope, a new hope is what we have been given by the Lord. New hope is what we have been given by the Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. A new life is what we have been given by the Lord. New life is what we have been given by the Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. A new heart is what we have been given by the Lord. A new heart is what we have been given by the Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord. Hallelujah, 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 Lord.
Okay. Well, I'm going to admit up front, whenever I've been gone for a month, I'm just asking for all of you to see me grounded and not scattered. Jet lag behind me. So good morning.
Good morning.
As an affirmation for peace in the Middle East and in solidarity with our Muslim and Jewish brothers and sisters, all of us, people of the book, we greet one another. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Peace be upon you.
And upon you, peace.
Shalom alaikum.
Alaikum shalom.
Well, as most of you know, I'm Reverend Vicki Elder, and first, as most of you know, I've had a simply amazing, blessed October, beginning with my son getting married and then joining him and his wife and her parents on the second leg of their honeymoon. I know that sounds strange, but it was all good. In Paris and in Italy, and going from Rome to my daughter's home in Cincinnati for our annual Halloween extravaganza, as only Northside Cincinnati can do. I believe it's the only place that Halloween is such a huge event. And with all of that, it's still good to be home. I know all of you have had a meaningful and inspiring October as well. With Michelle's series on the 5 invitations, I saw the pictures of the beautiful altar, Day of the Dead altar, and I know it was a really meaningful service. So let's give it up for Michelle. So grateful for all of this. It's my joy and honor to welcome you to Unity of Monterey Bay, a beloved spiritual community co-created with love and intention. And whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries, and we are one in spirit. And we affirm together, thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. Amen, yes. Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness and honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. And now let's take this intention just a little bit deeper with an autumn prayer by Christian Robinson. that reminds me so much of the beautiful changing colors that I just left in Cincinnati. God of the autumn, help us to live with the grace of falling leaves, the enthusiasm of the flaming aspens, with the serenity of the old trees whose roots reach deep into the earth. God of the autumn, help us to know that living and dying are one, that life is precious and beautiful and limited, that nothing is ever lost. God of the autumn, help us to see in the ways of nature a way for ourselves. And so it is. Amen and amen. Well, it's the first Sunday of the month, which means it's birthday Sunday, and I realized the last time I was here was the birthday Sunday of October, so it's appropriate, full circle. So we would like to invite anybody who has a November birthday to please come forward. And if you're out there in our virtual audience and it's your birthday's in November, just open your heart and take in all of this love and blessings into you. And so we go from that to blessing our children. Invite any kids that are willing to come up front here so you can just awaken that place in us of awe and wonder and joy and excitement. And so as we allow these beautiful lights to be that for us, to awaken in us, and as we hold all the children in our own lives, in our hearts, and all the children of the world in our hearts, will you join me in our blessing? We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you just the way you are. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So, as we, again, what's going on here? How about now?
Nope.
Yeah?
Hello.
Okay, it says I'm on. Am I still not coming through? I'll just go on to this.
What?
Maybe I need to be turned up. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm talking, I'm talking, I'm talking. No, I'm not coming through the thing.
There it is.
There. Okay, I was just turned way down. Is that better? All right. Ooh. So, as we now again center ourselves and deepen our blissful interconnection with Spirit. So, taking a collective deep breath in and letting it out with an audible sigh. As we allow all distractions to gently fade away and invite the chime to call us into the sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times. to call in the four directions and to remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Continuing to focus on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into the divine flow. And again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies, and as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine, as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude, and with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all, embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say, thank you, God. So now, fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from today's daily word, shared with the permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is divine order. I invite you to allow my words to be your words. I live in harmony with divine order. Life is in constant motion, even if that motion is imperceptible to me. When I feel stuck in place or impatient with my progress, I consider the gradual yet orderly pattern of the seasons as they change. That single golden leaf I notice one day will become part of a blaze of color just a few weeks later. The brisk chill in the morning air soon will lead to biting cold and snow. The first tender seedling of spring will bring bright blooms and a verdant canopy, followed by a long, sultry days of summer. Little by little, one season turns into the next. My growth in understanding may happen in much the same way. Even if I don't notice changes day to day, my life is always in motion and in order. And from the scriptures, you see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was brought to completion by the works. James chapter 2, verse 22.
I am that I am has brought me to this now moment. Here I am. I am that I am has brought me to this now moment. Here I am. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am.
In witness to the wisdom of the many paths to the sacred, We read from 3 sacred traditions on this morning's topic, karma. From Taoism, if you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. From Buddhism, when we are mindful, deeply in touch with the present moment, our understanding of what is going on deepens, and we begin to be filled with acceptance, joy, peace, and love. And from Christianity, do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6.
Blessings abound in this moment, silent and open listening. Spirit, I feel a blessed unfoldment, breathing new life in me. In this moment, truth and clarity find their way to me. In this moment, I'm where I should be, safe in the arms of love. Blessings abound in this moment, silent and open listening. Spirit, I feel a blessed unfoldment, breathing new life in me. In this moment, truth and clarity find their way to me. In this moment, I'm where I should be, safe in the arms of love. I'll trust myself, I'll seize this day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize this day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize this day. I know my heart will lead the way. I'll trust myself, I'll seize this day. I know my heart will lead the way. Ooh, yeah. In this moment, I'm where I should be, safe in the arms of love. In this moment, truth and clarity find their way to me. In this moment, I'm
guess what? We have a guest speaker today. So I just wanted to introduce Molly Steele. Yay.
Good morning. This is my favorite Sunday of the year because I got to sleep until a reasonable hour. So I thought I'd talk today about my understanding of karma. John Lennon sang, "Instant karma is going to get you, going to knock you right on your head. You'd better get yourself together. Pretty soon, you're going to be dead." And so what is this thing called karma, and what can we do about it? Now, in its essence, karma is the law of cause and effect, but that's not particularly helpful. You know, maybe this message here is don't mess with dominoes. So I've come at it through a number of different teachings, part energetically and part through some of the Buddhist teachings. And so I'd like to present to you my current understanding. So basically, at its core, karma is the result of every thought, deed, or action. Am I hissing too much? Okay. Sorry, I'm new at this business. So it's the result of every thought, deed, and action. And they're basically storylines. Am I still hissing? Okay, sorry about this. So the basic storylines that run through our life, they have a beginning and they have an end. We don't know exactly where they are, and I'm representing them in these slides by lines of different thicknesses. The way people explain the stories of our lives through various different theories. You could look at it from genetics, psychology, what many people think of as karma or the past lives. You can look at horoscopes, birth order, family dynamics, animal totems, numerology, on and on and on. There's basically how people explain why we are the way we are. And so we don't have one storyline, we have many different aspects. Any thought, deed, and action in the present determines our karma in the future, for better or worse. And anybody who's ever had a child knows that people come into this world, you know, with certain characteristics. They're not blank slates. And so some karma is heavy, and I'm representing that by the thick lines. Some karma is positive, and I'm representing that by the black and gray lines. I'm sorry, some karma is negative. That's the black and gray lines. And then I'm trying to show that there's also positive karma, and I'm trying to use that by the purple lines. So you get the essence that there's a lot going on, and I'm trying to show that some karma, you know, starts out good, it can switch to bad. Some karma starts out bad, it can switch to good. Some starts out really heavy, it can diminish. And so there, you know, it's not a static thing. It's not one thing, and it's not static. In its essence, we minimize bad karma and build good karma by doing good deeds. We build negative karma or diminish good karma by doing bad deeds, or reinforcing a bad deed over and over through rehashing it. You know, some stories, you know, we perpetuate them by continuing to tell them long before their purpose has been served. I'm sorry, long after. I'm nervous. I'm sorry. I just want to say that. The microphone is distracting, and I'm just a little nervous, so let me just ground myself again. And so the storylines don't necessarily move in straight lines. My graphic skills are limited. So, you know, they come through at various different angles, and then the future, I'm trying to show this by the future isn't fixed. You know, the future is a range of possibilities, but I don't know how to do that with these graphics. So the fog, if you will, in the future is the range of possibilities based upon what we do in the present. Now, the concept of karma is not limited to individuals. You can also see that countries, companies, communities, groups, and families, they all have their own storylines, their own karma. Now, I want to talk a little bit about rebirth and reincarnation. Now, Unity doesn't have a teaching one way or the other about this. But an understanding of karma is helpful, even if you don't couple it with reincarnation. But there are some concepts that are helpful, especially when it gets to the question of why bad things happen to good people, or the basic question, why innocent children get so sick and die of cancer. How do we explain that? Well, this helps a little bit. That helps me a little bit, and so I'd like to share it with you. The notion of reincarnation means being reborn as a human. A lot of us are familiar with the Hindu notion of successive reincarnations. That's gotten into the popular culture. There's another view, and this comes from the Mahayana Buddhism, that distinguishes rebirth and reincarnation. Now, rebirth is not coming into human form. Reincarnation is coming into human form, and that's the difference here. This very complex drawing is the Mahayana concept of worlds and realms of existence. And don't worry, there won't be a test. Okay, and then Mahayana Buddhism, just like any other religion, there are different sects within Buddhism. And Mahayana is the one that kind of came out of the temples and into the laity. And so it's more accessible, to ordinary people who don't want to move into monasteries. This is the same drawing we just saw with a little bit of color coding to help break it down. The lower segment, I'm going to see if I can use my lash. Yeah. The lower segment is called the sensuous world because of our physical senses. The beings in these realms of existence have access to physical senses. And you can see there are 6, there's the human, let's see. There's the human right here. Below that, we have the animal realm, and then below that we have 6 layers of hell. 8 major hells. And so each one of the 8 major hells, you would live a lifetime in a major hell, and if you're on your way up, you're moving up. You can also go on your way down. And so I find that this section right here, the sensuous realm, is a little similar to the Christian teachings. There's not a huge difference there. There's the concept of heaven and hell, and then the human life within that. Now, the amount of time it takes, up here, these are the 16 planes of heaven, and then above that, the 4 upper planes of heaven that get into the formless world. In the Mahayana teachings, in one teaching I'm familiar with, the amount of time it takes to go from the bottom realm of hell to the very top realm is called a mahakapa, and that means a very long time. Yeah. And in one particular teaching, it's from the beginning of the Big Bang until the universe collapses back on itself. And so that's a pretty long time. Now, in this teaching, a human birth is rare and precious. There's the popular notion that we're reincarnated over and over again as humans, and it tends to have people become spiritually lazy. I'll fix that in my next lifetime. I don't have to hurry. But there's a notion that the odds of being born as a human would be if you were flying in a plane along a coastline at 30,000 feet and dropped one of those lifesaver rings just at random. And at the very moment, right before it hit the surface of the water, a dolphin leapt out of the water without being able to see it. That's the odds of having a human birth. And so when you think about it like that, it's like, wow, this is rare and special. And in the Mahayana teachings, only humans have the ability to alter karma. in all other, all of those other lifetimes and all those different realms of existences, you're just playing out the karma that we create or release during a human birth. And so that's, it's daunting in a way, but as I hope you'll see, there's also a great opportunity here. And even more rare than being born as a human is being born into a human on a spiritual path. The chances of a group of us gathering here together in the same place in the same time, to be spiritual friends is just remarkable. Something that we often take for granted, but, when we stop and think about it, it's like, wow. Being reborn as a human in this eon or in this Mahakapa means that at some point one took a vow to return as a human to be of service to suffering beings. In the Mahayana teachings, this is called a bodhisattva. And bodhi means spiritual awakening. Sattva means a being, an essence, or a spirit. These are people who could attain nirvana if they wanted to, but out of compassion for other beings, they choose to come back into the human realm. Now, you don't have to be a Buddhist to be a bodhisattva. There are ordinary bodhisattvas, the people who seem to be able to selflessly serve and patiently take care of others no matter what. And this is not only in like the physical caretaking, ministry, just people who seem helpful. They're all around us when you stop and realize that we're living among people who have taken a vow to care for others. It's remarkable. The image here, I'd like to just talk about it for a moment. This is the Buddhist deity called Tara, and there's a beautiful origin story. When the Buddha attained his enlightenment, you may know that he was a prince who lived among royalty. He went out into the world and saw ordinary people. And when he saw how ordinary people live and the suffering, not pain suffering, but just how challenging it could be to be a human being, a tear fell from his eyes. And when the tear hit his thigh, up sprung Tara. And Tara is the deity who is the one who cares for others. There's, spiritually, physically, mentally, health, she's the one that takes care of us. And so that's just a beautiful idea. And so what can we do about karma? Now there's a pun here because anything you do produces karma. So you can never get away from it, but you can learn to work with it. Now most people have no sense of the present moment. Their life goes by from the past to the future as a continuous line. But consciousness practices or spiritual practices give us the opportunity to alter karma instead of waiting for it to unfold in its ordinary course. And what I mean here by consciousness practices is anything that expands our sense of the present moment. It obviously includes spiritual practices like meditation and prayer, but also things like 12-step programs, A Course in Miracles, therapy, anything that gives us the opportunity to bring our awareness into the present moment and provides the ability to choose what to do next. There's a story about, many of you are familiar with this, a person is walking along a road and falls in a hole. And then they get up and they pick themselves off, and they walk down the road, they fall in the same hole again. Well, that's karma repeating itself over and over again. Well, sooner or later, they come and they say, oh, I remember that hole, and they can walk around it, but eventually a wise person will take a different road. And so this shows like an expanded sense of the present moment. Most consciousness practices involve focusing on the physical senses to bring us into the present moment. That's because the body lives in the present moment. There's no such thing as a past body or a future body. There's only now when it comes to the physical body. So God lives in the gap. And some teachings say God lives in the gap between breaths. You can think of God living in the gap between the past and the future. And our consciousness practices, spiritual practices, they widen the gap. And they give us just a little bit of sense of time that we can say, oh, okay, and we can choose a different response. Now, this is back to the slide that shows the many different storylines of karma. And remember, these aren't straight, but my graphic abilities are limited. And the blue shows the realm of approximate futures. We're going to work with one storyline because it's easier than that complicated version. And when we release that which no longer serves us, we allow the Earth's energy to receive it. We interrupt the automatic flow of karma from the past into the future. And now nature abhors a vacuum. And so when we consciously choose to release something, we create a vacuum for God's grace to descend. And with that brings a new way of being with its new karma. Now, sometimes the resulting karma can be instant. You know, we've all heard of miracles. Other times, it's drip by drip. Each time you let go of that old story again, each time you refrain from the snap judgment or the automatic response, you're altering the trajectory slightly until there's a tipping point when the negative karma is fully released. The wise Thich Nhat Hanh says, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. So letting go of that which no longer serves and consciously choosing thoughts, deeds, and actions that are kind, helpful, generous, selfless, etc., they allow us to positively impact the karma of our lives. And one of the best ways to positively impact our future and that of others is through gratitude. When we begin to appreciate that everything we have to be grateful for, we release any sense of deprivation. That's the downward flow. The downward flow of our release opens us up to receive. Now, we've all heard, God appreciates a gracious recipient. And gratitude begets more gratitude. And so it's a circle, it's a practice, a cycle that we initiate. It's kind of like priming a pump. If you don't have any water in the pump, nothing happens. You put a little bit of water in the pump, and then you get the flow going. And so the first step is always up to us, and God's always ready. So some of you know, it's been I think over a year now that I've been offering Monday night meditations. And for the month of November, we're focusing on gratitude because we have the collective holidays of Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. So, are you ready to do a little bit of gratitude meditation? As you start getting settled, I'd like you to know that John is going to bring us out of the meditation with some music. He's going to be playing what's called an auto harp. And you'll be able to see that in a moment. When the music starts, keep your eyes closed and just allow the music to flow into your awareness. And then receive the first verse of the chant as a gift as you slowly allow your eyes to open. And then beginning with the second chant, with the second verse in the chant, you can join in. And so let's all get settled for just a meditation. You can just allow your eyes to close, and if you're comfortable with that, and just feel what it's like to be where you are with your eyes closed. There may be sounds, human sounds, animal sounds, machine sounds. There's nothing that you really need to attend to right now, and so you can just let all that be. Together, let's take a deep breath in, and out with it goes every thought of anything that's happened up until this very moment. And just feel a sense of spaciousness opening up behind you. Another deep breath in, and out with it goes every thought of anything that might happen next. And just feel a sense of spaciousness opening up in front of you. One more deep breath in. And out with it. Your mind starts to relax its grip behind the eyes. It floats very gently like a feather, dropping down behind your nose, behind your mouth. When it gets into your throat, relax the tongue and let it drop, and follow the whole series of muscles that relaxes down into your chest. You can do that again. Let your tongue return to its position on the roof of the mouth, and then just let it drop and follow the whole series of muscles down into your chest. And then just notice how the next breath comes, and then it goes, and this seems to happen all by itself. So just be here for a moment, enjoying the feeling of being breathed. Let the mind continue to drop into the abdomen. And again, notice on the in-breath, there's a squeezing of the organs in the abdomen. And on the out-breath, there's a release. It's this squeeze and release, the pumping action that keeps all of our internal organs functioning properly. Let the mind drop a little further down between the sit bones, and you can feel the gentle pressure downward on the in-breath, the release on the out-breath. This is our root chakra. This is where we connect with the earth's energy. Allow the mind to continue to drop down through the big thigh bones, through your knees and the calves, the ankles, and into the feet. When it gets to the soles of your feet, just appreciate what your soles are in contact with. This is our secondary connection with the earth's energy. And then let the mind continue to drop down through whatever your feet are in contact with, and what's below that, and what's below that, down, 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 into the center of the earth. There's a molten ball of iron that forms our gravitational field. Now, scientists call this gravity, but you can think of it as God's love holding you, saying, I am constant. I am always here, whether you know it or not. I will never let you go. I will never fail you. I am here for you. And so just feel that connection between your mind and the center of the earth. This is your place. This is your foundation. This is what holds you. And just have an appreciation for the fact of the ground. This vast energy will receive from you anything that you offer to it. Anything you're ready to let go of naturally finds its way down. And so as we're focusing on what we have to be grateful for, let's start with the ground. That which allows us to feel grounded, that which provides our foundation. And just notice that as we bring our attention downward, there's some room in our head that wasn't there before, some space that we have created by releasing our gratitude. You might notice it as a gentle sensation on the top of the head. And just allow that sensation to enter like a breath of fresh air. And know that you can do this practice anytime, anywhere. It only takes a second. And one of the best ways to remember it in the present moment is just to drop your tongue. It always finds its way back up to the roof of the mouth. That's what it does. And it gives you another opportunity to just release and remember, to create that downward flow by letting go of any sense of deprivation and remembering all that we have to be grateful for.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed.
Unity of Monterey Bay is the collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who give of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain the spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearance of fear or lack into a faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. And with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough and that we have enough and that there always is enough to both have and to share. And again, we are grateful to all of you for your online giving through our website at unityofmontereybay.org and through your mailed-in offerings, including those who have set up automatic giving with your banking institutions. We are truly blessed. For those of you here in person, the baskets are still in the back by the door for you to drop your offering as you leave this morning. And now, from this place of faith and gratitude, I invite you to join me in mindful intention and joining in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive. I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you so much, Molly, for that awesome lesson today. And John for the beautiful auto harp, and Sue for the awesome music today. Let's see. So I know we had Karen Drucker, and we had Denise Rosier, Carrie Landry, Karen Taylor, and Sue Riley. We want to thank all of those musicians for their music today, and again, our awesome music team. Yay. Okay, so for announcements, I don't want to forget. What's that? Oh yeah, you put it in here. So, okay, wait, I have it here so I know what I'm supposed to say. You guys might not know, maybe you know, but maybe you don't know, and I want to make sure you know. what an amazing job Nicole does with our children downstairs. She is tireless, absolutely tireless. And and Kelly Potter has been helping out weekly for quite some time now. And the two of them are like the dynamic duo, and I know that we have only a few children that attend, but those children are grateful to have a program to go to, and their parents are grateful to have a place for them to go for an hour. And I just want to make sure that, sometimes she's not up here, we don't see her, and it's really easy to forget. So over the past few months, they have been doing a Harry Potter Unity program. And the kids are just graduating and finishing this program, and they get badges and all these things. And so Nicole wanted to honor the children and celebrate their accomplishments and their creativity over the past few months. So there's a table in the back that shows a lot of the things that they have made over the past few months and gives you a little bit of a sense of what they've been doing. And so go ahead and have a look at that. And just thank you for Nicole and for Kelly and everyone who helps out occasionally and keeps our children's program going.
And if you see Nicole personally and Kelly personally, go up and thank them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And other announcements are in our e-blast, but there are a number of, can you believe we're into the holy days already coming up? It's hard to believe. So there's a lot of things going on. You want to mark your calendars for all of them. We're going to have Christmas flowers, not poinsettias? We're trying to get poinsettias. Okay, so that's coming up. What's that? Working on getting Christmas flowers so that you can purchase one to honor a loved one. And that will be possible in the sacred grounds. And we will let you know when that's available. But lots of things coming up.
Available now. They can sign up now.
Oh, they can sign up now, but we're working on getting the flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will get flowers. We're just not sure.
Not sure where they're coming from or what they're going to be. Okay, awesome. So with all of that, we are grateful that you have joined us this morning, whether you're here live or joining us virtually. And whether it's your first time or you're a regular, we hope that we've made you feel at home in our Unity of Monterey Bay community. And we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Are you trying to tell me something, John? Yeah. Do you want me to just say about the highway cleanup?
Highway cleanup next Saturday, the 13th, Castroville. Shell Station, 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd love to have you out there if anyone wants to come out and help. That's about it.
I have to repeat it or it won't come through the
John
thing.
has all the jackets and helmets.
I have all the equipment, yeah.
Okay, so highway cleanup next Saturday,
13th.
9 a.m.
13th, 9 a.m. at the gas station on
Shell
the corner,
station.
Shell Station in Castroville. It's not 76 anymore. If you have questions, contact John Dundon. These are the awesome folks that keep our little stretch of highway clean and free of trash, so we are so grateful for their service. And if you want to help out, we even provide the little fancy little outfits so you can look cute while you're doing it. Okay. Our prayer chaplain on duty today is Robin. She's available to pray with you after the service for prayer joys or prayer needs. And there are prayer request slips in your pews that can be placed in the wooden box by the door, and those are prayed on by our prayer chaplains and go on to Silent Unity to be prayed on for another 30 days. So we are grateful for all the ways that we stay prayed up in this church. And here comes Nicole and Larry, and I saw Kelly, so let's just give her. Yay, Nicole! And Kelly! And the kiddos. Yeah, I neglected to mention Larry, and Larry is not officially the children's church person, but he is down there almost every week helping out. So Larry, we recognize you too and your service to our children. Well, I think that's it. We're ready to make our closing circle, and we've had a small change we're going to try out to our prayer for protection, so have a look up at the screen. It's just a slight change that Vicki has implemented. We're going to see how you like it, and then we'll check back in with you and see how you feel about the change. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. she walks in.
Shall we dance?
You look like you're doing a lambada or something there. So as we form this circle of love and prayerfulness, I'm just thinking this morning about our own Denise, who I know is struggling with some health issues, so just holding her in this space of prayer and lifting her up and seeing her whole and complete and restored to her complete health. Is there anyone else on our hearts this morning who's in need of prayer? You can call their name into the circle if you wish. Diane.
Yeah. Ed and Ruth.
Jose Manuel from the church in El Salvador that we worked with on Habitat. He and his wife are struggling, I believe, with COVID.
So we just hold all of these dear ones in our heart, and we see these prayers going out to embrace them so that they might feel that love of God and be strengthened and lifted up in consciousness and able to face whatever is happening in their lives. And we give thanks for these prayers that we know uplift each and every one of us. Will you please join me in our new version of the prayer for protection? The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let